What's happening, everyone? It's your boy Hardcorn, and we're back today with something special. We've got a new guest here. It's little Miss Felicia, the newest character in Action Taimanin. We're gonna go look at what she's gonna do for us and how we're gonna play her to the best of our ability. Now, for starting off, we're gonna look at some of her stats right here. At about level 75, she's gonna have 4980 health, 3090 attack, 3877 in defense, and on crits, she's gonna have 3547. In terms of health, that puts her at the top end of the pack, and on attack, that puts her on the medium to lower end of the spectrum. All these stats right here generally don't matter after a certain point. She, however, though, is very tanky. She's made of meat. So let's take a look at some of her weapons. I managed to get myself her Shadow Scythe, her signature weapon, Reaper's Wing. It gives a damage dealt to enemies with debuffs by 15%. That's one of my favorite playstyles to play with because if a person can inflict a whole bunch of ailments in some sort of way, it makes for a very, it makes the enemies very weak and also makes her extremely strong. And she can do that. She can inflict a lot of ailments very easily. This is her, of course, package weapon. Generally a very poor item until you get something else. Otadachi is her critical weapon, much like Astaroth and how Shiranui have one as well. You just increase the skill level and you get 28% critical hit rate increase. Next, let's look at her skills. So we'll start off with the classic Aerial Rave and the Ground Pound. This is where we get into the first set of her vampirism attacks. Evil Strange. It's a blue attack, and it sends out that pool right there, and it gives out a huge amount of damage and hits multiple times. That's very good, because the first hit will mark with blood, and then the rest of the hits will recover her HP. That's very nice, so you can actually get to crit too, and just recover almost all of her HP at once. If you don't want to take Evil Strange, you can always take Vampiric Zone. That allows her on Extreme Dodge to allow enemies in the area, about the same range as Oboro's Hypnosis Seal. She'll be able to inflict with the Vampirism debuff. And that way, with each hit, she'll be able to recover HP each time she deals a strike to someone. I don't know the exact percentage of how much it recovers, but it's a low amount, but it's substantial with how many times she hits enemies. This skill you can take really just about anywhere, since it's a 2-2-2 setup. I don't know if there's an upper limit on how many you can mark at once, but the range on this is very good in general. You can pick up a lot of people with it. Next up is Blood Scythe. It's a general jump in there and she'll just stab the ground for a little bit of damage. It heals, it has an additional hit, and it increases speed. So it's a very fast DPS tool. So you can use it and just dodge and just stab right in there, and then create a little combo to go off of. We'll talk about that later. Vampire's Blood is her first Taimanin art. She gets 2 of those because she's really special for some reason. Vampire's Blood works the same way as Oboro's Taimanin art, in that each hit now hits twice. Though, when you see it in game though, I think it almost looks like it hits multiple times. This makes her attack very, very quickly, and also hit a bunch of times. It's really good on her Rebellious weapon, and I can tell that already, because when I was practicing with her, I could see that she was hitting like 5-6 times, 5 to 10 times more, and then she'll shoot off one of her Destructo discs, and it'll also hit too. So she can essentially cap defense down almost instantly with a single strike. It's crazy. After this, we've got Rending Scythe. This is her finisher. It's on a 3-second cooldown, you'll never ever feel it just like any of those other ones. However, many of these skills on her have a decently long cooldown, and also when you're using her regular base attack, it also has a very long cooldown if you don't put a Taimanin art on it. When you do put a Taimanin art, you get a gigantic window to activate her finisher. You want this as much as possible because it gets her out of the recovery from her basic attack, and it also gives her an uninterruptible attack along with escaping the recovery on skills too. If you really play your cards right, you can actually get multiple scythes out there on the field at the same time. The max, I don't know if there's a maximum yet. You can fit up to 3 or 4 scythes on screen at one time if you're really quick about it. Orochinagi. This is a very good skill. It has a 3/4 to 1 second windup, but then she attacks for a huge amount of damage in AoE around her. It's one single hit, so you don't get any of that Rose Rondo shenanigans where it like decreases the defense down on the first hit, and then every subsequent hit just explodes for huge amounts of damage. No, Orochi is like a EI quick draw. She charges up, gives one hit, and blows up everything in her path. Like when I got her, I was able to do something like 800,000 to 900,000 damage on a built crit. The best part about it too, it's on 12 seconds. 12 seconds on a skill like this. You're going to be spamming it as much as possible. Next up is Shadowblade. This is her other Taimanin art, and it's generally like a regular one you'd see. It increases damage and particle charge. However, this time she doesn't have a direct finisher like Vampire's Blood with the boomerang scythe at the end. When it finishes, she will just immediately throw one of those scythes. And in that animation when she's throwing the scythe, she can use Rending Scythe here to throw another one. So you can essentially have like 2 on at once all the time. These scythes are no joke either. They continuously travel, and they also sometimes can home in. They're also huge hitboxes, and if your enemy is slow and large, she'll just tear them to bits. It's really good for breaking down armor and getting as much DPS in as possible, but the thing is, when you hit like a sort of revenge value on an enemy, they'll just wake up, and then she'll just get caught holding the bag and get shredded to pieces. This is still really good. Both of these are really good. Slaying Spree, this is her green skill, and it's really, really good too. This is the one where I was talking about how you can throw up to multiple scythes at one time and have like 3 or 4 on the screen. This lets you do that because right here it shows you can throw 1 scythe, but if there's more enemies, she can throw up to 3. And if you're really quick about it, you can't use a Rending Scythe to get out of the recovery out of this to throw 4, but if you're really quick enough, you can get Shadowblade in there and throw the 4th scythe. This is a really good skill because it gets her up in the air. It's dangerous that way, but she gets up so high she can miss a lot of projectiles. It's really good on something like if you face Sakura anywhere, Sakura's spin will just like, she'll never hurt her, ever. These spins too, they last a long time, and they just absolutely tear into everything in their path because they have the innate damage modifier like that. Sadly, they're ranged. Of course, you can't use the melee supporters on those and totally just bash into them and just rip their heads off. You'll be doing that anyways though with Shadowblade and Vampire's Blood, so it won't really matter too much. It's like Oboro's green skill in that hers is ranged, but the critical rate and the innate damage is so high, you would never consider it a DPS loss. It lets Felicia stay at range and also heal. Because if she gets Vampiric Zone off and is able to throw Shadowblade, Vampire's Blood, Blood Scythe, whatever, or Evil Strange, if she can do that, she can throw those scythes and actually recover from a distance. Not very many characters have that sort of thing because it's a risk-reward setup. Sanguine Smash, of course, I don't have it. It's an 85 skill, not 85, it's an 81 skill, and it's a counterattack. I mean, it's a 7-second counter. She has to take damage to use it. But it also gets her out of the recovery for what she has. And even then, her recovery is like really fast. You know, like Astaroth's like probably one of my favorite characters to use, and her recovery is like 1.5 seconds. Of course, every character who's like fast recovers quickly too. Felicia's very, very good, and she's generally incredible for the most part. But now, let's see how she is in a more practical sense. First of all, we're going to try her on Red. Red is probably my favorite way to play her because it gets her access to some of the game's most like potent supporters. Green has a lot of like support, but Red in recent times has been able to come up and actually be probably one of my more favorite colors to play with because of just generally how strong they make everything. So let's try her out. Let's see what Orochi, Shadowblade, Rending Scythe, and Blood Scythe will bring. Each one of her swings like this is insanely huge too. And unlike other finishers, hers has a very huge window for it to activate. Like you can be really lazy about it and still make it. which that generally shouldn't be how finishers should work. Oh, look at that. I looked away from the screen and I was still able to hit it. That shouldn't be a thing. But every time I throw that finisher down though, she sends out a humongous scythe, and that cuts through just about everything. Because if there's an enemy that has to jump around and manages to evade the attack itself... Oh, did you see that right there? That did 1.2 million damage. You blink and you miss it. That's how strong that skill is. Soylent Burger. Oh my goodness, is this the art contest? I knew they put stuff out there, but I didn't think it was like... would put it everywhere in the game. Oh, that's adorable. That's a 1.3 million damage. That's your instant kill skill right there. That's something you use to just go blow up a boss in one hit. Like we're gonna try to do with Mochi right here. I wish I could see how much damage that did, but I can pretty much guarantee that it was, well, obviously it was enough to kill him. Now I went and changed some of the skills. I got the vampiric zone and I also got slaying spree to show how that works. Because all these skills are very strong, so you can actually just take them out and just use them however you want. Like, honest to God, I'm stunned that they actually release a character like this. She has really huge shotgun potential on everything she does. And you barely have to think about what you're doing. Because of these scythes really solve a lot of problems for her. Oh, there we go, yeah, mama. And we got Yukikaze. Oh goodness, I didn't... Wow. Look at that, we just got like an art gallery contest right here. Makes me almost wish I submitted the commercial for when I made the fake commercial for this game. Oh well, it's over now. Oh, perfect. And of course, when you have red vampiric zone, it activates her increased critical rate. Wow, okay. Oh, I messed that up. They jumped right into the laser beams. But you can fight from a perfect amount of distance. And frankly, I don't know why more characters don't do that. Oh, I missed it. She's really fast, and that's probably the best thing I like about her. Because I saw the little gameplay clip they showed of her, and I was sold. Like, I couldn't believe they would actually put a character like that in there, who is not only fast, but good. Like, this is really what should have, this is what Sakura should have been. Now let's go into blue. Let's see how that turns out. So we're going to be using these fellows right here. I want Sue on there because she gives the super armor chance. So that helps with Felicia actually getting her attacks off in a more crowded scenario, like I was doing back there. And of course these two blue supporters increase a demon character defense up, and of course supporter cooldown. This is like the best supporter in blue, and that says a lot about what blue has to offer. I'm going to try to keep Orochi Nagi, But of course we'll just try and change it anyways. We have Evil's Strange equipped. Vampiric Zone changes now to a higher range, which means you can now fight at the outskirts of a battle and also tag more enemies. Blood Scythe actually changes, so we'll equip that too. Sadly I don't have Sanguine Smash. That would have been very good to showcase that because it makes the target groggy. That's good. But what I do want to have is, instead of Shadow Blade, we're going to use Vampire's Blood. Because I just want to show off just how many times it hits per attack. God, this guy's putting a lot of cool art this time. Oh, that's cool. Wow. Oh, wow. I guess that's where they put all the winners' art. Like everybody who made it like the top 20 or something. Whoa, good lord. Come on, Felicia. She doesn't get the damage boost anymore. But she gets to hit a whole lot, which is very good. Oh man. Burping. Like, look at that. I did no damage, but I was also hitting like 16 or 18 times. Like if I was using that Momochi weapon, Rebellious weapon, whatever, those guys would not stand a chance. Blood Scythe. Oh, I took it off. I forgot about that. Oh well, I'll show it next time. And right there, I'm dealing a lot of hits. Those hits don't deal too much damage, but it's more or less the fact that I'm also healing a whole bunch at the same time. Every hit is a chance to heal. So Blood Scythe's movement actually changes to make it an AoE piercing attack. That's very good, because if you use it normally, it's a very skinny skill, so you're actually somewhat bound to miss it unless you're really dead on about it. See that part right there? I wish I kept the finisher with me, because when she has the scythe come back to her hand, she has a catching animation, and you can activate a rending scythe at that moment. Oh, good catch, good catch, good catch. Look at that. That scythe throw is also on multiple hits. So she has a lot of chances to use her vampirism to recover. And also a lot of chances to crit. Like, unfortunately, Blue doesn't get to take advantage of that aspect too often. But when you use something like green, or especially red, which has a lot of crit boosting inside, she can make every one of those attacks just sit there and crit all day. She's got a little bit of recovery to her, but it's doable. And the thing is too, with her effects being so huge and massive like this, it's also you can get lost in the sauce and not see attacks coming. So it pays to keep her mobile as well. Because right there, when she throws that, you can actually avoid the recovery by just dodging out of it. You don't let her catch it, because it'll just come right back to her anyways. And that's all damage too. You see right there, I just used a supporter, and I was able to recover all the damage right off of it. It probably does something like a 1% recover on every hit. So take that as you will. 1% of damage dealt, which is why they try to keep her damage relatively low. It's not like Asuka or Emily low, but it's low enough to make you think twice about doing certain things. This level also really sucks because when you're trying to do time attack records for it, they have a late spawn on this fight. So if you have a faster ultimate, like right there, that guy at the bottom left of that, in that bottom left corner, it'll spawn late. And it does it on purpose, I know it. Because I usually try to do this course with Astaroth, and then I mess it up in some way, and then she loses like 6 seconds to go kill the last guy. That's enough out of blue. Let's go check out what green has to offer. And I mean, honestly, was there ever any doubt? The bog standard, blow everything up sort of build. You got your Kaoru and 2 melee damage supporters. Felicia's melee. She's also green. I mean, you couldn't go wrong if you tried. Now let's get our skills changed up. We're gonna keep Vampire's Blood because I want to show just how much damage that thing can really do when it uses something like a whole bunch of boost behind it. Blood Scythe also is now a recovery tool because it has a 5% recovery. It also stays a skinny skill. It's like Murasaki's healing skill in this sense. Which means now Murasaki has a contention with another character to be the top healing character in the game. Characters. Alright, we're gonna go take Blood Scythe, Vampire's Blood, Slaying Spree, and 7 Hells. Let's see how they turn out. Felicia is also like Noah, in that her attack is split up into melee and ranged, except she does it better. Well, Felicia does it better by not having a totally garbage version of this. They learned their lesson after having after Noah. Noah, of course, is an experiment, a total chimera, but they learned not to ever do something like her again unless they really have a big plan behind it. Oh no, there you are. You're looking big, girl. There's 7 Hells. Oh, that's the launcher. She does windmill. I don't know what I was doing there. I was looking at something else. Because if one hit wasn't enough with Felicia, she delivers like 4 or 5 at once. She is unstoppable and unbreakable even. See, that's what I meant by the skinny skill. That should have hit, but it didn't. I'm sorry I had it be this way, Noah. But you followed your wrath and you followed your path. But maybe we're both the same. They're demons after all. On this time I decided to forego having the other one, her aerial rave skill, and I just managed to put a rending scythe back on so I can get out of blood scythe's recovery. And I also changed the Taimanin art to the damaging one, just to show how much of a difference it makes. It's slightly slower, but it does more damage, and sometimes that works out better. I don't have the rebellious weapon, so it doesn't work out in my... It doesn't work for me. Come here. This is not a fully leveled up Felicia either, like maxed out, kitted and everything. Like, I'm doing like 60,000 damage with her on like basic hits. Cause like her finisher has armor on it, so you need to be careful when using it. Cause she has to do her slashes first and then throw it. You think you're so tough? Why don't you stay for dinner and tell me all about how great you are? Kaboom. Now I don't have anything ready for the Astaroth fight. That's the best part about that skill, I can just leave it alone. And it just does it for me. It'll hold our enemies that have broken armor in place, so I don't ever have to worry about touching them, and I can get out of there if I need to. It creates a nice pressure zone too, with each one of those discs. Hello, Astaroth. Goodbye, Astaroth. Phase 2. What? It hit the car? Oh, goodness gracious. I think I only touched her one time. That was all scythes. My god. Great job, Felicia. It was very slow, but we were just, trying to prove a point. I think that's going to wrap things up here, folks. I want to thank you for stopping on by. I love you guys very much. You know I do. I love you guys stopping by and telling me all about those new characters and what you thought of them. I thought Felicia was great. She's a really fun generalist character, and I can't wait to play with her even more. Don't forget to like, comment, rate, favorite, subscribe, do all that fun sort of stuff, because why wouldn't you subscribe? I like you. I do it for you too. Anyways, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.